Hey, what's good, y'all? Fuzion here, back with another reaction video. So earlier today, we saw that Tom Thibodeau is fired from the Knicks as their head coach. A couple things. Personally, I think as long as you make it to the conference finals, you had a successful season. I paused after that because I do think that there does get to a point to where you have to win after you get to the final, like the conference finals every so often. But if you get to the conference finals in that season, you are the top 2 team in your conference, the top 4 team in the NBA. Again, there's caveats behind that. Some teams may have been better, but because of matchups, they got to face against a team that was a way better matchup for them, so they got to that finals. Just like whatever. The Knicks did beat the Celtics. Of course, the Celtics were, going through something, not all the way healthy. Not really an excuse when it comes to that, but that is something that has to be said in the conversation. The Thunder, they were playing crazy. But I do feel like that there were some injuries, some calls that were interesting that were in their favor. But either way, when it comes to getting to the finals, when it comes to winning championships in general, in like whatever field, sport, or anything, there is a luck element. There is a luck element, be it an injury, be it how the ball goes, be it outside factors, refs, illness, just like whatever. That is a part of the championship aspect. So that's why it's hard to win a chip. You can be the best player of all time. You can have the best roster of all time. But if you don't have that luck, then it really doesn't matter. So I think that these two teams should be matching up. I think these two teams were the best in their respective conference. I think that the Pacers have an all-around really, really good squad from top to bottom. And I'm going to get to the video. Just stay with me. But from top to bottom, they have a really, really, really solid team. Same thing with Thunder. Either tomorrow or Friday, I will be dropping a video on the death of the super team. These two teams aren't super teams. They went through super teams to get to this point. And I think that just says something. I think we're now going into an era where a fully stacked team, a fully built team all the way to the 10th to 12th man is how you win. You don't just have 3 superstars and then you auto win. You need those Pascal Siakams to step up during the postseason. I never thought he was a superstar. He was capable of being that, but he always sort of flew under the radar. But when you needed him, he shows up. Miles Turner, he shows up. Missing 2 other names on this Pacers team. They show up. And I think it's just a solid team. And their coach trusts them. And I think that is why this Knicks and Tom Thibodeau issue sort of stemmed. I think that the Knicks had a solid roster, but I think they got the Laker treatment. They have a great roster all the way through. If they had more reps, if they had more time on the court, if you let those stars maybe take a breather, they will learn the game. They will be more confident when they get to the postseason and be able to help. I think that the Knicks were a better team and a more complete team than the Pacers, but I think there was just a lack of energy. There were multiple plays where I feel like the Knicks were lazy on box outs, lazy on passes, lazy on shots, slow on rotations. And it's just fatigue. You cannot, again, for some reason, there's this, people just continue to ignore this one spot. I mean, like this one part that every single champion says. you need a bench to be successful in the playoffs. You need a bench to win a championship. You need the others. You need the corner guys. You need the defenders. You need the hustle players to win that. You need defensive players to win that. It is never just one guy. It is never just two guys. And quite frankly, it was never just three guys. There's this weird misconception that the super team worked because it was only the core three. No. Every single big three super team, quote unquote team that worked had great pieces that complemented those superstars. And those stars also complemented each other. That's why that LeBron was able to work with that super team in Miami, because, and I will continue to say this, LeBron is best when he is not the primary scorer, because he is naturally a playmaker and he will be able to get his team the ball as a superstar. I don't think he plays well and makes really great decisions on the offensive end when he is looking to score. That's not his game. He's been forced to do that, I think, since his Cavs years, and I think that's why you've seen an uptake in how he is scoring. I think if he was still playing Miami ball, I don't think he would have. Well, I think he would have still cracked like the scoring, like the top scorer of all time. But I think it would have been not as close. But again, I think that he had to change to an offensive scoring guy, especially now that he's on this Lakers team. We, as the Lakers, are forcing him to be an offensive scoring guy when in reality he is a playmaker. So when you put him around these other superstars that can score the ball, Kyrie, D-Wade, AD, with, you know, on like some nights he is a quality scorer, that's when he thrives. That's why there's a struggle going on with this Lakers team right now, but that's another conversation. But you get that well thought out roster with the Norris Coles, with the Ray Allens, with the Kendrick Perkins, with the Lamar Odoms, Rajon Rondos, Meta War pieces. Those key pieces that hit those timely shots, those key pieces that hit the swing threes, those key pieces that are willing to dive on the ball and make that extra pass so the superstar can feel a little bit better to make that layup or that lob or that dunk for the energy play that causes that other guy to want to dive on the floor. The super team is dying. The Knicks should have recognized that and tried to play those other guys. They have bench players that could have been usable on this team. They have talented bench players that could have been very, very usable against this Pacers team. I don't know. But I think that's probably why that they got why they fired him. It sucks because optic wise, they made it. They were a few games out. This was a successful season. This was a successful Knicks season. They understand what they have. They understand where to go next. But I understand why they got rid of him at the end of the day. I do. But that's pretty much all of my yapping. Let's go ahead and hear what they got to say.
Get your thoughts on the huge breaking news perk that happened just a few hours ago. The Knicks firing their head coach, Tom Thibodeau, after they fell short in the Eastern Conference Finals to those Pacers. He led them to the playoffs in 4 of his 5 seasons, took them to the conference finals for the first time in 25 years, but that title drought is longer. It's 52 years. So this story comes across your news feed, and what are you thinking?
It's a damn shame. A damn shame. Tom Thibodeau did not deserve to lose his job.
I agree.
Tom Thibodeau was not the one in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals that smoked the double-digit lead at the crib in the fourth quarter. He was not.
So just real quick, so my message doesn't get, lost. I do think that it's crazy that he got fired. I don't think he should have, but I understand from a Knicks perspective what they saw and what the future of the league could be. There is this new the Alex Carusos, the J Dubs of the world. There's this resurgence of the others, the bench player, the corner guy, the the energy guy, that when you only play 6 or 7 people, you don't get that 8th or 9th or 10th energy guy that can turn a game for you, that can give Jalen Brunson a little bit of a breather, that can give Cat a little bit of a breather. Mikal Bridges is a glorified corner guy, but look, you play him as a starter. You got more of those on there, and I think you can. But again, I'm gonna just repeat it one more time. I understand why the Knicks got rid of him. I completely disagree, though. Completely disagree. I think he just needed some extra guidance. Just be like, hey, we need to play these players. If he still doesn't listen after that, then that's another conversation.
On the floor to smoke that was on the players. Tom Thibodeau wasn't a defensive liability on the floor like Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns, it's not on Tom Thibodeau that you allow Rick Carlisle to put Pascal Siakam on you and guard you in the low block and be successful at it. It is not on Tom Thibodeau that Jalen Brunson, outside of Game 5, was scored on 68% of the time. That's not on coaching. And I think it's bad for the league. It sends a bad message when you got 2 teams in the NBA Finals right now. That is a perfect example of what it looks like when the general manager in the front office runs the organization and not the players.
And trust that team.
You can't change the people around you, change the people around you. It feels like him not prioritizing depth and a deep rotation eventually caught up to him, and now they find themselves still with great odds to win the NBA championship, but without a coach. Tibbs, by the way, a 2-time NBA Coach of the Year, including his first season with the Knicks.
Which is hecka crazy. I do want to also talk about a little bit of what Perk was talking about with Cat and Jalen Brunson. As long as people still give Jokic and Luka passes on not being two-way players as MVPs and superstars, then I don't want to hear anything about no defense. Yeah, this is what the NBA is becoming. It's okay for your superstar to not play defense. I'm glad he called it out. Like, don't get me wrong, but there has been that conversation around Cat for a while. He's very, very passive. He will not take you down to the block, but he also won't play defense. Jalen Brunson will take off on defense sometimes. But we're seeing superstars do that. And if we don't penalize them, then they're going to keep doing it. I think that's why Shea won it over Jokic. I think that they are very, very close as far as stats, like the conversation. Like, you could have gone either way. But there's an edge on the defensive end that Shea is willing to play defense. So you got to give it to him. Basketball is a two-way sport. And a lot of the most recent MVPs were really just Jokic. That is their Achilles heel, is they don't know, or they don't want, or they don't feel the need to play defense. Knicks are going to be okay, though. I still feel like they just need some time to gel. Mikal Bridges figured out his jumper. Josh Hart is really turning into that undersized forward and really understanding that is his role. I think OG, he needs to step into his own, I think, a little bit more, become a little bit more consistent. But I don't think that the coach was the first place to start. Like, firing the coach. I don't think firing the coach was the first place to start. Not at all. But that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm going to have a special video coming out on Tuesday next week. So make sure that you guys are looking out for that, okay? All right. I'll see you guys later. Peace.